Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on the YouTube channel. My name, of course, is John Campea, and this is exactly what it sounds like. The mic is open. Step on up. Tell us what topic or question you have that you would like us to talk about. That is what we do here on Open Mic. And there's two different ways that we take questions and topics here on the show. The first way is if you're not watching the show live, like as it's streaming live, and you'd like to send in a topic or question for the next show, go ahead and use the tip link at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip and send it on in there. Or if you are one of the wonderful people joining us live, you can use the super chat feature to send one in that way as well. And any topics or questions that come in that are appropriate to be addressed on the show, we will address them here on the show. I got Ray Ora in the room here with us, who apparently was in the middle of smelling his armpit. I don't know what that was. I think we got him at just the wrong moment. Jonathan Voico is over here.
Hello.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making this little stream part of your afternoon. So listen, we are going to get to your topics and questions and everything, but I thought we would start off talking about this. So a couple of movies opened in theaters this weekend. I still haven't had a chance to go see The Blackening. And I really do want to see that. The stuff they showed us at CinemaCon looked really, really fun for it. But there were two movies in particular that I was pretty high on. One is The Flash, which I already saw, but the other one was Elemental. And I came out and did my, right out of the theater review to Elemental, and I adored the film. Like, it's not a top 3 Pixar film of all time, but it's a really good movie. And coming off of Lightyear, let's face it, Pixar needed a pretty good movie. And this movie, Elemental, is positively delightful. I had a wonderful time watching this film. It's warm, it's charming, it's funny. It's a great story really layered underneath it about an immigrant experience of a family coming to a new world. I mean, it's just wonderful all the way around. So I had a number of people write into me and ask me, well, John, you said you loved The Flash, and I do. I loved The Flash personally. And you said you gave a really glowing kind of report for Elemental. So which movie is better? I always get those questions, right? Like any given week, if you see multiple movies, the questions come. Understandably, this is what we as film fans like to do. Which one is better, Flash or Elemental? All right. So here's my thoughts on this. First of all, it goes without saying that these are clearly two very different movies. One is an animated, allegorical movie about elements that at its heart is a romantic comedy. The other is a kind of multiversal, sci-fi, comic booky movie. They're two very, very, very different films that deliver their entertainment and their big experiences in different ways. They use different vehicles to deliver the audience experience that we go in to watch. And for me personally, both of these films deliver a tremendous, although different, experience from each other's. You guys have heard me say for over a month now, I love The Flash. I'm actually surprised that it doesn't have a higher critic rating than it does. I really thought that more critics would enjoy it the way I did. I mean, still, listen, 68% is the current critic rating of it. That means for every 32 critics who don't like it, there's more than double that number, 68%, that do like it. So that's still good. It's just, I thought it would be even higher. The audience score is really strong. I think the last I checked, it was like 87, 88%, something like that. It's 86, 87, 88% for the audience rating. But I loved it. I think I liked it more than most people did, as it turns out. Again, I disagreed from my very first out of the theater reaction to Flash. I said, I don't agree with James Gunn that it's one of the greatest comic book films of all time, but it is great, and I loved it. Elemental, coming off of the disappointment that was Lightyear, although I loved the first act of Lightyear, it kind of fell apart after that. This was a movie Pixar really needed to deliver, and just a warm, wonderful, positive experience in the movies that just had me. Anne was crying several times in it. We both left the theater with big, huge smiles on our faces. So which one do I think is better? If I had to look a fellow film fan in the eye, say, John, I only got time to go see one movie this weekend. It's either going to be Elemental or it's going to be The Flash. Which one do you recommend? It's so hard not to recommend a Pixar film in a situation like that. But for me personally, I'm going to go Flash. I still think Flash. Now, it should be noted that as of right now, Elemental has a higher critic rating and a higher audience rating than Flash does. I think the last I checked, Elemental has like a 78% critic rating and like a 90% audience rating.
76-90.
76 and 90 is where it's at?
And then Flash is 67-87.
67-87. So both a higher audience rating and a higher critic rating. So I think it's safe to say there is a decent chance that if you go to see both of these movies that you may end up actually liking Elemental more. As for me, loved both these films. You can't go wrong with either. But if I had to pick one that I'm going to go see again, like right now, or had to recommend right now, I'm still recommending The Flash. Again, they're both great. Can't miss, can't go wrong. Both excellent times at the movie theater, but I'm going to take Flash over Elemental. And it's really weird. It's not often in my life, particularly my movie-going life, that if a Pixar film was opening up against just about anything, that I wouldn't recommend the Pixar film. But in this case, I have to make an exception and say Flash. All right. Guys, with that down, we're going to move on and start taking your questions. But before we do, we're going to just take a quick moment here as we get the show rolling and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode, our friends at Manscaped. Oh, no, MasterClass.
There we go.
Both start with them. MasterClass. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, MasterClass. With MasterClass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn filmmaking from James Cameron himself, you know, the guy who made 3 of the 4 biggest films of all time. Improve your writing by taking screenwriting from one of the greatest who's ever done it, Aaron Sorkin. Or maybe learn how to make great comedic content by taking comedy by the one and the only Judd Apatow. And many of you guys know I'm a big poker guy, and I recently got a chance to sit down and watch Daniel Negreanu, one of the greatest poker players in the world, teach poker. It was absolutely fantastic. But guys, whatever you're interested in, there is a class for you with over 180 exclusive classes taught by the instructors you know and love. And you can explore lessons in any order you'd like across your phone, tablet, Apple TV, computer, and on the go with audio mode. Individual lessons range from about 10 to 15 minutes in length that fit easily into your everyday life. Guys, I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class, and as a John Campea Show listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea now. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off Masterclass. And thank you to our friends at MasterClass for sponsoring this episode. All right, guys, let's now do what we're here to do on Open Mic, which is getting to your topics and questions. We're going to start off with the tip questions. By the way, on yesterday's open mic, it was a later in the day open mic that I did solo, and we didn't do any of the tip questions. So if you didn't have a question answered yesterday that you'd sent in on the tip link, don't worry, we're about to get to that right now. So what do we have over there, Jonathan?
All right, first up, we got Mad Chad. Chad writes, "Hi, John. Without calling anyone out, what do you think about the rise of these anti-woke channels that post nothing but anti-woke content? What's crazy is how many views some of these toxic videos get. Do you think this hurts the fan community?"
Yeah, no, it absolutely damages, and the people who make these videos don't care. Look, I've said this before. There are thousands of these outlets, podcasts, blogs, YouTube channels, whatever. There are thousands of them. And one of the main reasons is because hate sells. It just does. Hate sells. Negativity sells. Listen, if you go through my video list, you'll see the vast majority of my videos tend to be pretty positive. We just talk about, events and things we like, but once in a while there are also videos that say, oh, like something bad, right? Because that's what happens sometimes. And even on like my own channel, what I've noticed is that a lot of times, even though they're not the better topics sometimes, and they're not the better videos, the ones that have that are the negative stories. And even though I try to stay positive most of the time, there are things that come out that make me upset and angry and will come across that way. Those videos tend to get more views and clicks and stuff like that than the other ones do. So I get it. Hate sells. And also when you're a hate article or a hate podcast or a hate blog, whatever, you don't actually have to know what you're doing. You just have to be able to spew a lot of hate and get clicks and get listens and get readers and get all that kind of stuff. And here's the funny thing about that whole trend is I actually believe, I might have said this before, I actually believe that a lot of these people that make these outlets that clearly don't care at all about the health of the fan community and the health of us as a society, but I think a lot of them who make these things aren't even like racists or homophobes or whatever themselves. I just think they like appealing to racists and homophobes and things like that. They like to be the go-to place for racists and homophobes and stuff like that because, again, it's clicks. It's a lot of easy clicks, you know, and there's also a huge appeal to bringing your politics into it. You know, for a long, long time, I made a video about this recently. For over 100 years in Hollywood, there has been this active agenda of exclusion. The studios have admitted it. I mean, the studios have all pretty much admitted it. Yep, for about a century, we've been a pretty exclusion-based bunch. They've all admitted it. And now we're in an era where Hollywood is stopping their exclusion agenda. They're stopping their agenda of keep out black people, keep out gay people, keep all these people out. They're stopping. They're like, you know what? We're not going to go by that agenda anymore. And that scares some people. And like children, we as human beings, when we get scared, we lash out. And I think you're seeing a lot of fear. I think you're seeing a lot of fearful people in the world of blogs and podcasts. They're scared. They're scared. You know, there's an old saying, and I'm paraphrasing it here, but it goes something along the lines of this. When you're used to a position of privilege, equality looks like oppression. Let me say that again. When you're used to an experience of privilege, equality looks like oppression. And I think you're seeing that now that Hollywood is no longer just for guys that look like me. Now that Hollywood is no longer just for straight white dudes, it makes people scared. It makes them afraid and they lash out. And then they want to appeal to all the other cowards and all the other afraid people to make them scared and get angry. And again, it's like Master Yoda said, man, you know, the dark side isn't more powerful, but it's easier. It's more seductive. It's quicker. And I think that is pretty much at the core of this whole movement. Is it damaging to the fan community? Yes. I mean, the fan community has become, in some branches of it, a pretty awful, toxic place that a lot of new fans just don't want to be a part of anymore because of this whole politicization and all that kind of stuff. It is damaging to it, but it's not going to stop. Because whenever something is easier, there will always be people engaging in it. Whenever something is easier, there will always be people engaging in it. And spewing off just a lot of hate and exclusion and whatever, if you can attract that large audience of certain people out there and you can just get those clicks, of course there are going to be people who do it. I wish they wouldn't, but they do. And it's just a part of life. It's up to the audience to become a more informed audience and more discerning audience to decide, you know what, there's a lot better podcasts and blogs and article writers and outlets and stuff like that that don't have to engage in that nonsense to have any kind of success. But again, there's always going to be an audience for it too. So it is what it is. All right. What's next?
All right. Just J Newbie writes, hey crew, since James Gunn stated that some cartoon characters will go live action and vice versa in the new DCU, could that open the door for Kaylee Cuoco to play Harley Quinn? How would you feel about that? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
Nah, zero chance of that. He's talking about the new movies and animation that he's making that's a part of the DCU. The Harley Quinn animated series is not a part of James Gunn's DCU. That is its total other kind of spoof satire thing. So what he's talking about is, what is it called? Creature Commandos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, something like Creature Commandos that is a part of the DCU, the new DCU that's coming. So he's talking about that the animated character, the people who are voicing characters in those will also play the live action version of them. Not that he guaranteed that all of them are going to have live action versions, but when they do, that they will be the same actors voice them in that. Again, that doesn't cover Harley Quinn or anything like that. So no, I don't think we're going to see her as a live action Harley Quinn anytime soon. All right. It's not impossible though. Not impossible, but that's not what he was intending or what he was meaning. All right. What's next?
Sailor Girl writes, sad to hear about Glenda Jackson, one of the greatest actresses of all time, winning 2 Oscars and recently won a Tony for King Lear.
I had not, or did she pass away?
Yeah.
When did that happen? I didn't see anything
I
about
think just today, or I looked it up.
Because
might
I
have been
saw
yesterday.
nothing on that in the news wires.
And
I
let
mean,
me
it must
see.
have happened later in the day today.
I think so.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, one day ago, yesterday.
I saw nothing of it in my news feeds. Oh, that's a shame. Thanks for sharing that, man. I appreciate that. All right, what's next?
All right. Wesley C. writes, so what's Marvel's plan if Majors keeps dragging on, or the case keeps dragging on? They made very clear Kang was a major through line this saga, marketed as such, and he's in upcoming projects. Do they just avoid marketing him, change the course, reshoot him, let the strike help them stall?
There's several options available to them. I mean, okay, if the court thing keeps dragging on and if it doesn't get resolved the way that I'm sure that Jonathan Majors and a lot of Jonathan Majors fans would like to and hope turns out, Marvel has a couple of options. One is the easiest, which is just recast. Just recast the role. Again, I'm not sitting here saying they should recast. I'm just saying if things don't go the way they want it to go, then the most obvious answer for them, and I think the easiest answer to them, is just to recast.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I think the delay of Kang Dynasty, remember we talked about this on the channel the other day, Kang Dynasty's been moved by a year. And I cannot help but wonder if a part of that isn't just about giving themselves time to deal with the Jonathan Majors situation, but I wonder, and this is just, understand this is just me as a normal average fan doing some wild speculating, okay? That's all. Part of me can't help but wonder if it might also be a part of an overall direction reevaluation. Because this multiverse, what do they call it? The multiverse, is that what they call this phase?
Mm-hmm.
The multiverse, there was the, what do they call it? There was the Infinity Saga. And then these phases are supposed to be the multiverse saga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I rolled my eyes as soon as Kevin Feige said that at CinemaCon, saying, oh God, really? You're going to do a whole thing on multiverse. All right. I think it's safe to say at this point, it has not gone as well as the other phases of the MCU. And I don't think it's a coincidence that one of the most successful things they had, which was the new Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which had nothing to do with multiverse nonsense. It's one of the most successful things they've done. One of the most successful things they've done since, Phase 4 started. Obviously, you got Spider-Man No Way Home. That was a huge juggernaut of a film, but still. So there's part of me that just wonders if they're not reevaluating their whole multiverse thing in general and maybe reconsidering what they're doing. I wouldn't be shocked. Again, me, pure speculation. I wouldn't be shocked if we found out that Avengers 5 changes its name and is not going to be the Kang Dynasty anymore. Again, don't run and tell other people that. This is just me blindly speculating. It's probably just a delay. It'll probably still be Jonathan Majors, depending on how all the court stuff goes. But the simplest answer, again, is simply recast him. A broader approach is change direction of the whole MCU where you don't even need Kang anymore. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. All right, what's next?
All right. Sticks and Stones writes, with a $20 tip. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sticks and Stones.
This morning you spoke of Game of Thrones deaths. My favorite was always going to die, but he almost made it to the end. And when he died, I was so disappointed. Aidan Gillen's Littlefinger was fantastic.
Boy, I tell you, I just recently came across a YouTube. I don't know why my YouTube algorithm's giving me a lot of scenes from various shows. And I came across the death of Littlefinger's one on YouTube. And whoo, that was a good one. Because when I sat down and started watching the episode, I would have had no clue that Littlefinger was about to buy it. None at all. I honestly thought he was going to make it through to the end of the show. I really did. And they pulled that one like a rabbit out of a hat. It totally shocked me. That really emphasized again in Game of Thrones, any character could go at any time. Any character at any time could go. And that one kind of reestablished that for me too. All right. What's next?
All right. No, not supers yet. Spud Queen writes, one of two. Hi, John. I'm a longtime viewer and a big It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan. If you're truly interested in checking it out, may I suggest Season 5, Episode 4, The Gang Gives Frank an Intervention as first episode. And if you like it, then start the series. It's a good intro to all the characters without much background knowledge needed, and absolutely hilarious. The first couple seasons are a little rough, but they find their groove around season 4. Hope you enjoy it. Bring on Filthy. I disagree. I love those first seasons.
But him saying that, I mentioned this.
It harkens back to what we just said. And like the Seinfeld thing.
Yeah, we were during the John Campea Show podcast day, which, by the way, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's even a free video version on Spotify if you'd like, or any other podcasting app of choice that you like. We were talking about that, and Ann and I were just in Vegas this past weekend, and we went to go see Jerry Seinfeld live, and he told this joke about, man, I'm so sick of people telling me, you got to check out this show, you got to check out this show, and when they finally beat you down, and you finally go, okay, I'll watch it, then they hit you with, now, the first 4 seasons are pretty rough, but once you get past that, and that's exactly what that just sounded like.
I would argue that those are great seasons, man. Episode 1, season 1 onward. Who cares? They're great.
Like I'm not a completionist, but I do like to start from the beginning. I don't like to start with something in the middle. Although I have told people, I guess to be fair, people have told me, say, hey, John, I've never watched Parks and Rec, which I think is one of the greatest comedies ever in the history of television. They say, I've never watched Parks and Rec. Should I just watch from the beginning? And I'll usually say, you know what? You could probably skip the first season and you won't feel lost at all if you just start right in at season 2, episode 1. But so maybe I'm not a beginnist as much as I thought. All right, what's next?
All right. Kia San Diego writes, okay, I'm already cracking up at how meta the first episode of the new Black Mirror season is. Joan is awful, is a true nightmare for so many reasons. Are you a fan of the show? Will you... I don't think will you be watching season 6? Definitely got to a good start, if you ask me.
I've never watched Black Mirror. I've watched one episode. I've watched one episode.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that far in season 6.
I watched the one episode with, what's the name of the actress who was just in the newest Terminator? And she's kind of half Terminator, the blonde girl.
Oh.
I keep forgetting her name.
Oh.
Right. Guys in the live chat, help me out there. What's the name of the girl from the latest?
She was in *Halt and Catch Fire* too, right?
Yes. And I can't remember her name. It's not Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie was not in that latest.
I'm looking up.
That's the only
Mackenzie
blonde that matters.
Mackenzie Davis. Thank you.
She was also in 2049
and The Martian.
Oh, that's right. She was in The Martian. That's right. Of course, Ray would know that.
Dang.
So Mackenzie I saw one episode with Mackenzie Davis in it where her and this other woman fell in love in a virtual world sort of things. And then they finally meet in real life. And anyway,
Is it like
that's the only,
Twilight Zone?
and I liked it. It was a good episode. It's the only episode of the thing I've ever watched. I've never really been all that.
Is it like a different story every episode?
Yeah, it's a,
it's like a
what's the word
Twilight
I'm
Zone.
looking for?
Twilight Zone sort of thing.
Yeah, it's
Twilight
anthology.
Zone.
It's an anthology show. It never really appealed to me to watch it, but I should check it out some point.
Twilight
All right,
Zone.
what's next?
Anonymous tipped here. The Flash feels like the point where post-Snyder DCEU finally figured out its world and characters' place in it, showed all the heroes together in a really fun story that shows the worth, distinctiveness of these versions of the characters. Shame it's over.
Is it a shame that it's over, though? I mean, look, and I say this as somebody who has been a fan of all the DCEU movies except for the Harley Quinn one. The Birds of Prey, Fabulous Emancipation one, Harley Quinn. That's the only one I haven't liked. Yeah, and Wonder Woman 1984. Other than that, I've liked all of them. I especially Man of Steel. But as somebody who's liked them all, the reality is a whole lot of people didn't. The DCEU has never, other than maybe Aquaman, never really lived up to its potential. And for the better part of a decade, it's just kind of floundered. And the very fact that we just had a Black Adam movie, which I don't think was a bad film, but a Black Adam movie that couldn't even crack $400 million. Then you had a Shazam 2, which again, I think was a pretty good film. So, I mean, it wasn't great, but it was pretty good. Not as good as the first one. Didn't even make $150 million at the worldwide box office. Put that in perspective. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse almost made more in its domestic opening weekend than Shazam 2 made in its entire global theatrical run. That's the status of the DCEU. And that's why, even though, I mean, I've got him in my office. If you guys watch the videos I make from my office, I've got a Henry Cavill standing. I got Cavill on my desk. I got Cavill on the brain. But even though I'm a huge fan of that, I have to go, yeah, they gotta change it. It's time to end it and move on to something else. Because this movie I think Flash movie should be $1 billion film, but it ain't gonna come anywhere close.
What's funny is he said it ends it. We still have a Aquaman too.
Yeah, that's right. We still got
technically
the
ends
next Aquaman coming out. We still have Blue Beetle.
Oh yeah.
Which even though Blue Beetle, the character, is going to be in the new DCEU, this movie is not canon to the new DCEU. So there are still a couple more to come. But I really do enjoy this Flash movie a lot. I mean, not as much as Man of Steel, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a great movie. All right, what's next?
CJ Rebirth writes, Elemental was so much fun. The story, the music, the animation, and the upshort was delightful. One of my favorite films this year, and Flash was a fun movie, but not one of DC's best.
I think it was one of DC's best, but Elemental. You know, even though I liked the first 15 minutes they showed us at CinemaCon, I didn't have a huge amount of enthusiasm going into watching it. Honestly, I might have waited till next week to watch it if it wasn't for the fact that Anne wanted to see it really bad. So it's like, okay, yeah, baby, let's go see that. I'm glad we did. The movie is delightful. Wonderful little film. I mean, it really not top 2 or 3 best Pixar films ever, but it's got that heart and DNA of a great Pixar film again. You know, every scene, every character, there's something to smile and charm and delight you all the way through. It's just a wonderful little film. And I'm so glad to see that the critic ratings, which started low, have consistently continued to climb upwards. The audience score, like we said, is now in the 90s. It's just a great, wonderful little film. And if I first recommend seeing Flash, but if you've seen Flash already, or maybe if Flash doesn't appeal to you, I highly recommend going to see Elemental. It's a wonderful little film. All right, what's next?
All right. Audie of Hash It Out writes, watch Flash Thursday night. Decent enough movie, but my Flash light up cup was the best part. In my opinion, Flash is the 3rd best comic book movie this year, behind both Guardians 3 and Spider-Verse. Might even be beat by TMNT. How would you all rank these 3?
Spider-Verse, Flash, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I love all 3 of them. Across the Spider-Verse is just next level. Across the Spider-Verse should and very well might be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards this year. And I really do think it has a chance to get that nomination. Not Best Animated, not that little kiddie table Oscar that they created just so they wouldn't have to deal with animated films anymore. I'm talking the big boy Best Picture of the Year Academy Award. I think it deserves it, not win, but deserves that nomination, get it easily. And I just by a bit have Flash nudging out Guardians 3, but I love both of those films. So that's how I would rank them. How would you rank? You've seen all 3 of those, right? How would you rank them?
I have to wait on Spider-Verse and Flash since we're going to see it tonight, I guess. But Guardians is probably my favorite movie just because of there's like a lot of emotion that I wasn't expecting to get out of that movie. And it was like, and then like just knowing it was the last one probably. And James, it's all that stuff makes it my favorite out of all 3 so far. But it's like tonight I'll decide whether I like Flash or Spider-Verse more. But they're in the top 3. I mean, it doesn't matter.
All great.
Switch them all around.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I mean,
we could all get along.
When you think about how mediocre, there have been some good ones, but generally speaking, the overall quality of the comic book genre in the last couple of years has been lower than it has been. To have 3 comic book movies in a row, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Flash, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and to me, they're all excellent. That just feels so good.
Yeah, that's good too. But then also, like, by the way I'm ranking them, it's like just one of them is like beating out the other just by a little bit.
Yeah,
meaning,
it's all
that
close.
makes it even better.
To me, except for Across the Spider,
yeah.
I got Flash and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, very, very, very close, and then I got Across the Spider-Verse.
I mean, if every year there was this dilemma.
Yeah. Oh, that nice problem to have, right?
You're right. From all the companies.
All right. What's next?
Parker
or studios. Sorry.
Parker Squaredland writes, "Hey John, do you have any good Angelina Jolie movie recommendations?"
I am a big fan. I don't know why more people don't talk about this movie, but it's the one she did with James McAvoy. What's that?
I like Changeling.
I mean, Changeling's good. I like
Yeah.
Changeling too.
I like that.
But
Wanted.
But yeah, with James
Yeah.
McAvoy. By the way, speaking of Guardians, Chris Pratt is in that movie too.
Yeah.
where they bend the bullet. Wanted. I love that movie. And a lot of people, and I get it, I totally understand why. The reveal about the big secret behind the organization is the loom of fate. A lot of people are like, wait, that's the MacGuffin? That's the thing? I get it. I thought it was freaking fascinating. I loved it. I loved Wanted, and I always hoped that they would do a sequel, but it just never came around. And it's funny recommending that one because Angelina Jolie, she's got Oscars, but for me, Wanted is kind of my favorite movie,
was
to be
the
honest.
surprise movie of the year for me when it came out.
Which one?
The Wanted.
Wanted, yeah.
When we went to go see it, I was like, I have no idea. I don't even think I saw a trailer. I just saw it, and then
I remember, I've seen lots of movies do it since, but there's that one scene, and I think they put it in the trailer, where the car donuts like spins out as she opens the door and leans out the door as the car's spinning and has her gun out. And I'm like, oh, like a lot of movies have done it since, but
Yeah,
that was
I've
like one
never
of the
seen
first
it.
times I'd seen a
Yeah.
shot like that. It looks so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay. Clifford McCralin writes, growing up, what was the first movie you watched to where you suddenly realized that, oh my God, movies can suck? For me, it was The Phantom Menace.
That's a really good question. I don't remember. Like, I remember the first movie I went to go see without my parents, like I just with my friends and no parental supervision, was Kenny Rogers' Six Pack.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, to me, all movies are great. So that's a great question. What was the first movie you went to go see that you thought, oh wow, movies can be awful? It's a wonderful question. I don't know. Do either you guys have one?
The movie that made me leave, and I was just so angry. But it might not even been the movie. It's just because I didn't want to go see it, but everyone in my group wanted to. And I said, I don't want to see this, man. I don't want to spend all my money on this or money on this. It was not another teen movie.
Oh,
man.
I left and I was furious. I was like, I told you guys this movie would suck. I was just like, but you know, your friends always try to, come on, man, you're not doing anything. Let's go, let's go.
Only slightly worse than that one was Meet the Spartans. Do you?
I mean, all of those stupid like spoofs that like,
And they're all made by the same guys, by the
yeah,
way.
they're just like, oh, what movies came out this year? Let's do a stupid nonsensical spoof on it. It's not like the quality of Airplane or real good spoofs.
I was just watching one during lunch today. It's on Amazon. It's called Super Fast. It's a Fast and the Furious one.
He put more time watching a Fast
I
and
watched the
Furious
whole
spoof
thing. I actually
than watching
watched it.
Fast and Furious.
Instead of Fast 9, I watched Super Fast. I think Super Fast is probably the movie of the year now.
Like, I can't remember the last time there was a good satire movie. Because
they
like
don't do
that
'em
whole
right.
era of Hot Shots,
Yeah.
Airplane, Spaceballs.
I mean, I loved what was it?
not Lethal.
Naked
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun. Loaded Weapon was actually not bad.
Loaded Weapon was with Emilio Estevez,
Yep.
right? Samuel Jackson. I love that movie.
And then because there was always, especially with movies like Airplane. Oh, and what was the one with Val Kilmer?
Oh yeah, I love that
With
movie too.
Latrine.
Oh my gosh, why can't?
And he sings, "Are you lonesome
Yeah.
tonight?
It's
Is your bra just too tight?"
Something spy.
I care, guys. Top Secret.
Top Secret. Yes.
Thank
I
you
love Top Secret.
thank you to M. Joseph in the live chat.
Would
But
you
yeah,
consider I'm Gonna Get You Sucker a satire movie?
Yeah.
a little
I
bit.
don't remember it that
Yeah.
well, but I remember there's a part I think he pretended he was Commando.
But like at some point, then like you look at movies like again like Naked Gun, Airplane, like a lot of thought was into all. There was actually something being said behind all
Yeah,
the satire
right.
jokes, right? Then you got into this era where like Not Another Teen Movie,
Yeah.
Meet the
Yeah.
Spartans.
Just like
That was just the stupidest whatever a fourth grader could come
it
up
was
with.
like
And
quick.
I think the last good spoof movie to me was Black Dynamite.
oh God, I loved Black Dynamite.
I kind of liked some
Michael
of
Jai White.
Yep.
the scary movies. I thought were kind of funny. Like some of them had their moments. I think.
Like the very
one or two of
first,
the
and then
early
it went
ones
downhill.
did. I remember I went to the premiere of Black Dynamite at the ArcLight Cinema in Hollywood, and I was sitting right
So
beside
good.
right behind, I should say, Craig Robinson from
Oh,
The
okay.
Office. That dude can laugh in a
Yeah.
movie because like Craig Robinson was like laughing his ass off. God, that's the movie that made me like. I always knew who Michael Jai White was, but that was the movie that made me like a huge Michael Jai White fan. It's like
Yeah.
that movie's so good.
Yeah, if you guys have not seen Black Dynamite, please
Oh,
go see it.
treat yourself and watch Black Dynamite. It's so funny. All right, what's next? Or is that
Okay.
all of it for the tip questions?
For the tips, yeah.
All right, then, guys, we're going to take just a quick break here. We're going to get to the live questions that you guys have been sending in. But before we do, we're going to just take a quick moment here and thank a couple of more sponsors of today's episode, our friends at ExpressVPN and my mobile service provider, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Guys, it is 2023, and online privacy and security has never been more important. You see, every device, phones, computers, tablets, has a unique IP address, which is like an internet phone number and reveals personal information about you. It's super simple for somebody online who knows what they're doing to find your IP address if you've ever clicked on a sketchy link or opened an email from somebody you don't know. Your IP address could become exposed. Now that's where ExpressVPN has your back. ExpressVPN is an app that hides your real IP address and replaces it with a dummy one, keeping you safe and private. And you don't have to be some kind of techie to use a VPN. Guys, it is so easy to use. Just download the ExpressVPN app on your phone or computer, tap one button to turn it on, and you're protected. And if you like your streaming entertainment, here's the coolest part. They let you choose what country you want your IP address to look like it's coming from. This is incredibly useful because services like Netflix and Disney Plus give you different shows depending on what country you're in. So secure your family's online activity and unlock tons of new shows by visiting expressvpn.com/Campea. Use my link and you can get 3 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at ExpressVPN and Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. All right, guys, let's take it home by going over to the live questions that some of you guys have been sending in. What do we got up next?
Okay. Still thinking about Black Dynamite. Luke, 1, 2, 3, 4. How often do you upgrade your computer?
You know what? Not as often as you might think. I bought my PC that Jonathan now uses, although it's pretty decked out, that PC. Mm-hmm. I bought that a couple of years ago. The one upgrade I did is I upgraded the video card in, because when I first got that PC, the video card was a 2070, I think. And then I upgraded it to a 3070.
3070.
But it's got the AMD 16 core processor in it. It's got like 64 gigs of RAM. It's a powerful, powerful machine. And then I bought myself a Mac Studio, and I've had that for over a year now. Yeah. So I don't actually upgrade. I only upgrade a machine once I feel like I will get a noticeable performance difference in what I'm doing by getting the new one. Otherwise, I'll buy and keep my computers for a couple of years.
Yeah. Upgrading is more like maybe a year, every year, something.
I'm more like every 2 years.
But replacing the whole computer and actually going brand new with everything.
Yeah, it's a while.
It's probably like 10 years for me. 10. Because
By the way, Ray's not joking.
I'll wear that system down forever.
Ray's not joking. He literally still had, when we were doing the John Campea Show, he literally still had this Mac this MacBook.
2010.
It was a 2010 MacBook that he kept. Well, I'm waiting for this part to arrive from Korea, so I can
just need a
open up the
battery,
thing.
the battery. Because man, it's such a big cost.
And I'm just like, Ray, let me just buy you a new laptop.
Yeah.
And it finally did. It was like, this is what
Well,
happens when you use a
Yeah,
more.
I wore it down to the point where when I started rendering videos, the thing would completely shut down.
And I could audibly hear it cry.
I said, I don't want this no more. I don't want this life.
Like I would watch, like you're rendering like a 5-minute video and say like 36 minutes. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Ray, it's time for a new computer, man.
I was like, this is the fastest you're gonna upload.
It literally had belts and pulleys inside of it.
I know.
And then actually, so I bought Ray an M1 MacBook,
Nice.
right? An M1 MacBook, which was a night and day difference. Like it was a totally
yeah.
different world, right?
And it was lighter too.
But it was so he had that for about a year. And then I'm like, okay, Ray, I'm going to get you a Mac Studio. But in Ray's mind, that held on to his computer for 10 years. He's like, no need. I'm like, dude, the Mac Studio, it's more powerful. It'll help you do your job faster, blah, blah. No need. Finally. And like, we've been in here for a year, and it was just like a week or two ago that he finally transitioned over to the Mac.
Oh,
because,
it's
like,
been on his desk.
It's been just it is the most expensive paperweight that he's just had sitting. I've had this like $3,000 machine I bought for him sitting on his desk for a year as a paperweight till he finally started to use it.
And then he rendered. He's like, oh.
Oh yeah. Oh, this
When
is
you start getting that little loading circle, when you start doing things like on your, it's time to move on. And that's when I decided to move everything over here.
well, yeah. When you start getting the spinning wheel for every
I
letter
hate
that you
spinning
type,
wheel. It's like makes me sad.
Wait.
Makes me
B. Wait. All right. What's next?
All right. J.A. Dub writes, liked Flash, but CGI was embarrassingly bad. WTF.
I disagree. Now, usually when people are talking about the CGI, they're talking specifically about things that happen in the Speed Force. Because the CGI in the rest of the movie is actually fairly good. It's not going to win any Academy Awards, but it's fairly good. But they clearly made a decision that they wanted the look inside the Speed Force stuff to be different. They wanted it to look different than the regular world thing. Now, maybe they made a bad choice as to what the look. Me and Chris were talking about that on the podcast today, that I think they would have made people happier because they took the visual effects for what the visual effects look like in the real world. And then they like dropped it down to make it look a little different in the Speed Force. But what they actually should have done is brought it down even more to really stylize it. And I think people would have had less of a problem with it. But I thought the visual effects in the majority of the movie were quite good. Again, not Oscar winning, but quite solid for what they were doing. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Kyle Schneider who writes, didn't really like The Flash, unfortunately, but what an awesome surprise Elemental was. I couldn't believe how engaged I was throughout. I loved it.
And I'm not a big, I like a good rom-com, but I can't remember, I don't think there's ever been a Pixar rom-com. And a smart one that integrated the story of being an immigrant as well. On top of that, it was just a beautiful, beautiful film. French kiss. I love it. I meant to say chef's kiss, not
Chef's
French kiss.
Wow, man.
French kiss.
He really liked it.
I meant chef's kiss.
No,
Mwah.
you didn't. You meant everything you said.
French kiss. Never mind.
All right.
Dirty Sanchez. All right, what's next?
Chris Herman writes, Saw Flash.
Smells.
This one, our fans must be the 13% that didn't like it. Chris Herman writes, Saw Flash, didn't love it, unfortunately, felt very messy, and a certain cameo felt especially distasteful to me. I wish I liked it as much as you guys.
Oh,
I am very surprised. Like I was surprised. Like I was saying, when we saw the critic ratings coming out and it wasn't in the mid 80s and it was lower than that, I was surprised. I'm honestly surprised the amount. I mean, again, it's still holding an 88% for an audience, but I am surprised that more people aren't loving it. I loved this one. I thought it was great.
I'm actually questioning my own taste now that I haven't heard that many people say they liked it. I mean, I wasn't trying to get people to watch a bad movie. I actually really like it. And I'm going to try to confirm that when I see it later with like the copy that everyone else is seeing. Because at CinemaCon, we don't know what they changed since then or if anything, we saw anything less or more. So tonight will be the night.
Tonight's the night
where I see if my liking of it.
The night of the Flash and French kisses.
French kiss.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. We got Samir who writes, saw Flash and loved it. Okay, here's one for the love.
Yeah.
And Cameo caught me by surprise, but I laughed so hard, would put it at 2 in my DC rankings behind Suicide Squad.
With Suicide Squad is great. It's 2 in my rankings as well, but instead of behind, I have it just ahead of Suicide Squad, but behind Man of Steel is where I have it. But yeah, you know what? The ending cameo is one we have not seen yet.
Yeah. And I almost got spoiled, but then I was like, no, I didn't see that.
Good. So don't tell me.
Yeah, don't tell me.
So there are, because they kept 1 or 2 little things from us at the CinemaCon screen. So I don't even know what it is yet. I'm about to see it for the second time tonight.
So this particular distasteful, you probably didn't see it.
Unless they're talking about the John Schnepp connected one.
Oh,
Right.
no. This sounds like something.
Okay. All right. What's next?
Well, we'll all find out. All right. Kane Carnage writes, I want to remind you all not to sleep on the live-action One Piece showcasing first footage at Tudum. Only Superman has outsold One Piece comics worldwide.
It is difficult for me to put into words how little interest I have in One Piece.
Are they actually doing revealing a live action One Piece on this?
It is a live action.
I think so. I know they're doing the Avatar reveal.
That's the one I kind of want.
That's the one I'm excited about. I really listen. A lot of people in the world watch tentacle porn. It doesn't mean I'm interested in tentacle porn, but hey, if you're into tentacle porn, that's awesome. And if you're into One Piece, it's an exciting time. I'm just not interested.
It's the pirating. I think someone tried to explain it's like pirates, anime about pirates. I believe.
Yeah,
that's
I don't have much interest.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I'm super excited for people who are.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got another Flash viewing here. King Daddy Goat writes, I watched The Flash last night. Gotta say I liked it.
Yeah,
a whole lot.
Too.
But not as much as the Red Wedding reactions I watched today. Thanks for that.
So that came up on the show that we told people, if you want to have a really good time and you got a few minutes to kill, jump on YouTube and look for Red Wedding reactions. They are some of the best videos on YouTube ever. like the people, and the funny thing is because it really captures most people's experience. Like I was in a room with a couple of other people when Red Wedding happened, and like people were like, "Whoa!" Like it's so fun. Again, even if you don't watch Game of Thrones, just look up Red Wedding reactions on YouTube. Go down that rabbit hole. It is some of the funniest stuff. Like you'll never see more people going, fuck this show, I'm never watching this again. But they're tuning in next week for sure. All right, what's next?
All right. King Daddy Goat is back. Says, Ray, Megamind was awesome. Stand your ground, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not down on you for watching
Megamind.
like
But then,
Megamind.
you know, I'm gonna get that hate when I say, hey, I would watch Megamind over any of the Incredibles movies.
Do you know the very first
It just hit
time?
different.
Wait, is it over the Incredibles movies?
Yeah, but I haven't really seen any of them.
That's the next one you got to come over and watch it is Incredibles.
Well, maybe.
That actually, because I got to do a rewatch of that anyway. But do you know the very first time I got to sit down with Will Ferrell was for Megamind.
Yes.
That was the very first time I got to sit
Tina
down
Fey
and talk
was
to
in
Will
that,
Ferrell.
and they made her character's hips extremely wide in that movie. That's all I remember. I was like, whose voice is that? Oh, yeah, okay, that explains.
All right, what's next?
Okay. PR writes, teaser for Avatar live action tomorrow. So excited.
Yeah, now here's the thing though. Is it actually going to be a teaser? Or is it going to be one of those like 3-minute sizzle reels where they kind of do a 5-second thing of all the different stuff coming up and we only get like a 5-second glimpse of it?
Where the creators are talking, it's like, yeah, this is our biggest project yet. And then
No. Like
right
they've done this with their To Dumb before. It's like only on Netflix.
Oh, right.
And they do this big
Of
montage
all
of
the
things.
stuff.
Like, so I hope it's a legitimate teaser for Avatar.
Like it gets its own slot.
Yes. But look, even if it is just like 10 seconds in a larger video, I'm very curious to see what this Avatar: The Last Airbender
You're getting choked up about it too.
I got the hiccups. I'm trying to get over that.
No. I want to spin this narrative. You're getting really
I'm
choked
so excited for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
up. That blue arrow on his head.
This is my appa.
I'm telling you, that teaser poster got me very interested.
What
in
teaser poster?
it shows the bald guy, the main bald guy, right? Like
Right.
with the arrow on his
Hey.
head. He's looking up at that big snow animal. And the
Appa.
snow animal is huge.
The big buffalo, the big flying buffalo.
And he's
Appa.
like this tall, and then the thing is like this huge.
Can you find that image and give it to
I
Jonathan?
think Jonathan just pulled it right here.
I don't even think I've seen this. Oh, that's great.
Doesn't that look so cool? I just like how big the animal is. If
Yep.
that's the way the world is, I'm down.
That is Appa.
Appa.
Yep. All right. What's next?
Okay, John Redcorn writes, what's the worst film of 2023 so far? In my opinion, either Fast X or Quantum Mania, which I didn't hate, but neither were very good. Also liked, but didn't love Flash.
Here's the thing. I never remember what year's thing comes out. So if I go over, let me just jump over to the release schedule here and see if I can find anything about what was the worst thing. Now, so I will
this
put
year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just say for me right now, Fast X is the standard bearer for now. Well, you know what? I think Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was worse. So let me go down the list here. So this is an order of box office. Super Mario Brothers I like. Guardians 3 I really liked. Avatar: The Way of Water I liked, although that's technically a 2022 film. Cross Spider-Verse is bloody brilliant. I liked Little Mermaid. Hated Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, so there's that. John Wick Chapter 4 is good. Creed 3 is good. Fast X, Puss in Boots, loved. Scream 4 I liked. Megan I liked. Dungeons and Dragons I loved. Transformers Rise of the Beast I like. Evil Dead Rise I thought was pretty good. Cocaine Bear I didn't love, but Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is worse. Man Called Otto ended up being better than I thought. Shazam I thought was better than Quantumania. Air was fantastic. Didn't watch 80 for Brady.
House Party.
Knock at the Cabin I didn't love, but I still think it was better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. A lot of people didn't like 65, but I did. The Adam Driver one. I like that one.
Come on, man.
Boogeyman wasn't great. Magic Mike's The Last Dance wasn't great. The Pope's Exorcist wasn't great.
I can only...
You know what? It might actually be Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. There's not a lot of movies that were out this year. Now, I haven't seen The Machine yet. That movie flopped pretty bad, but House Party... there haven't been many movies this year that I hated.
Everything I've watched, I've liked so far. Even Ant-Man Quantumania, I didn't think was that bad.
Yeah, I like compared to a lot of other years, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania wouldn't be and I don't think Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is going to end up by the end of the year being, I think, the worst film of the year. But again, this year I haven't seen many films that I straight up hated. So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania might be my bottom of the list right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
All right. Jay, who writes, just wanted to say I just started watching your show a few months now, and it's my favorite for movie info.
Oh, thank you, Jay.
You and the crew are amazing, and thank you for all the content you provide. Pinball is great. Ooh.
Oh, there you go, Ray.
Yeah, man.
You just made Ray's day. You just made him the happiest guy in the world. He's been evangelizing people for pinball.
Brothers for life. You know what I mean? Whatever your name was, Brothers for life, baby.
Whatever your name is,
Jay.
brothers.
The name is Jay.
I got you, Jay.
Thank you so much,
All
Jay.
the
We really
Jays.
appreciate that. And we're glad that you're here and part of our little community as well. So thank you for that, man. All right. What's next?
All right. DC won't read my scripts. I'm sorry. Sends in a $20 super chat. DC should make Batman with a mechanical suit like Jason.
Let me interrupt you for a second and just throw in 2 words. Fuck no. Okay, please continue.
So DC should, well, now we know why they won't read his scripts. DC should make Batman with a mechanical suit, just like Jason Todd's Arkham Knight suit. The story focuses on adopted Japanese descent, Bruce Wayne bullied for not being a real Wayne, and Bruce wanting to live up to the Wayne name.
No, they absolutely should not make that. And I do not want DC making another Iron Man. Why does Batman have to be Iron Man? Batman is not about having a mech suit.
Not sure about the mech suit, but that Arkham Knight from the game looked super sick. That whole suit getup, that thing looked good, man.
Look, and I get the battle armor that Batman would make to fight Superman.
That was
I kind of get that a little bit, but no, I do not want. Like, Marvel is already making all their characters little Iron Mans running around. Like, even the Dora Milaje now have Iron Man suits. Like everybody in Marvel, everybody gets to be Iron Man now.
So
I do not want to see DC doing that with Batman. I totally do not want to see DC doing that with that. By the way, our friend there tipped in like a $20 super chat for that. So thank you so much for that, man. We really appreciate that. And next time take the $20 and get a coffee as you're making your script for DC to read. Just don't put in a mech armor wearing Batman. Just don't do that. We've already got 55.
I'm with you, man.
They already did it with Spider-Man. They already made Spider-Man Little Iron Man. They made the Dora Milaje. Now Ironheart's flying around. Just no more Iron Mans, please. No more Iron Mans. All right, what's next?
Unless you're Iron Man.
Unless you are indeed Iron Man.
Jake Clark writes, hope for a Elseworld TDKR with Josh Brolin as Bats. Oh, The Dark Knight Rises.
Why? I mean, I always think
Or
it's
Returns,
a bad
I should say,
idea
Returns.
to say, let's create a movie around an actor. I think that's that's how you make bad movies. I think that's a total mistake to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. If they ever did say The Dark Knight Returns, and they decided to do a live action version of The Dark Knight Returns. For those of you who aren't familiar with The Dark Knight Returns, it's like the comic book that got me into comic books. It's an Elseworlds thing. It imagines the future. Bruce Wayne is like almost 60 years old. He's been retired as Batman for a long time, but he sees Gotham is going to hell again, and he decides to become Batman again. And it's one of the greatest comic book stories ever written. But if they ever decide to do The Dark Knight Returns and get like a Josh Brolin to play that,
No.
I'd be down. Or Sylvester Stallone. What?
That guy that could have played that really well has just left us. Ray Stevenson should be.
I don't even think he was old enough.
No,
I don't think Ray Stevens was old enough. I mean, maybe. How old was Ray Stevens?
I just like the way his voice is when he gets like really.
I
drunk,
love Ray Stevens.
And then like just a mad face, like disgruntled Bruce Wayne.
That's why I feel like Keaton was perfect for it because he's in his 60s. And
yeah,
but,
but I honestly, a movie like that,
Josh Brolin?
Josh Brolin in that kind of role, yeah. But again,
like
you don't just
Stevenson.
do a movie for that just so you can put an actor in it. You know what I mean?
But you definitely put him in like a mech suit. I'm thinking like this mechanical suit.
Yeah,
he
with
wears
mechanical bats, and then he got bullied
Yeah,
And then he got
because
bullied.
he's not a real Wayne, huh?
I like it. I didn't steal that at all. Didn't steal that at all.
All right, what's next?
Gabe Big Dog writes, hey, John, out of these three, which will you rent, buy, or get rid of? Moulin Rouge, Les Mis, 2012, this is a Hugh Jackman musical, and West Side Story.
Nope, not playing that game.
Come on, John.
Nope,
see.
not playing that game.
I'll say
I love all three of those. I mean, Moulin Rouge, I will tell you this.
Which one would you take on a desert island if you had one choice? At least give us that.
Okay, so what I would say is, and maybe this answers that question, one of those films is in my top 20 films of all time list, and that's Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
But bring up the list again.
It's
If I had to get rid of one, it would be West Side, only because I have the original.
I actually think the remake is better than the original.
But I
Y'all
definitely
gonna
buy
fight?
Mulan. I definitely buy Mulan and rent Les Mis because I kind of still prefer the play over the.
But if you
movie.
replace, I would rank them. How I would rank them is Moulin Rouge, West Side Story, Les Mis. I love all three of them. But I would say this: if you took out, it makes it more interesting if you took out Hugh Jackman's Les Mis and put in Greatest Showman instead, because that is an infinitely rewatchable movie.
Or
Greatest
take
Showman.
out West Side Story and put in Terminal.
Woo! It's not a musical, right?
I know, but I don't watch musicals, so all those would
What are
be.
you talking about? Not music. There's music in it. Yeah, but it's not a musical.
Yeah, that question not for me because I would say burn all three.
Burn all three. If it's not the terminal, get rid of it. All right, what's next?
Taki75 writes, Grace Randolph says Vanessa Kirby will be Sue Storm. How does she know?
We don't talk about other YouTubers in specific on our show. So yeah, let's just move on. What's next?
Kurt writes, like you, John, in behind on Superman and Lois and had planned on catching up. However, most of the supporting cast won't be coming for the last season. That kind of turns me off.
Yeah, I saw an article. Again, I watched like most of the first season of Superman and Lois, and I'm gonna, once I'm done my rewatch of West Wing, I'm gonna go and watch the entire series of Superman and Lois. But I read an article that we talked about on the show that they did renew it for season 4, but it's a shortened season. It's only going to be 10 episodes. And apparently, like, most of the supporting cast is not returning.
They didn't explain why.
Well, it's budget,
Okay.
right? They
That's what I
slashed
was
the
gonna ask
budget.
you
Yeah.
next.
Like, so the girl from Entourage who plays Lana Lang in it, she's not coming back.
Whoa, isn't she the wife? No. Lois is the wife.
Yeah, Lois is the wife. But
Okay,
she
never
played
mind.
Lana Lang. The guy was her husband's not coming back. Like, there's this huge list of all these supporting characters that were there since season 1 aren't coming back. But that doesn't mean the story won't be great and they won't find a good way to end it off. Like, maybe Clark and Lois leave Smallville, and which would explain why a lot of those characters aren't going to be there. Look, the only ones you absolutely have to have are Clark, Lois, and their 2 sons.
The emo son killed them all.
The emo son killed
When
them all.
he cried all
Finally had
over
enough and killed all of
burning
them.
them.
All right, what's next?
All right. We've got Tyler McCourt who writes, John, did you think the
Can you
movie...
scroll that up a little bit? There we go.
Tyler McCourt, did you think the reactions on YouTube make an impact on the box office? I see more and more reactions every day.
I think all reviews of any kind have an impact on the box office. Like people who like one of the dumbest phrases you'll ever hear is like, critics don't actually do anything. Yeah. The critic scores really do have an impact. Studios know this. They wouldn't spend millions of dollars if they didn't think that. And they have a lot of research and a lot of studies that absolutely 100% show that critic reviews do have an impact. So, well, that one movie had bad reviews and it made 800 million. Yeah, well, it would have made $1 billion. Well, that other movie had great reviews and only made this much. Yeah, well, it would have made less. See, studios have financed huge studies on this and they found it absolutely does. And like YouTube reactions are just a part of that overall machine as well.
Am I weird that I do things backwards? If I feel like I watch more reviews after I've seen a movie, especially if I really like it, like Turtles. If it comes out, I really like it. I'm on YouTube, watching all the reviews of everyone that I like watching, just to see if they agree. You know what I mean?
Right. I think there was one. The King Daddy Goat is saying that he had a one that we might have missed.
Dirty Sanchez will always remind me of butt fumble. I don't know what that means.
Oh, that's Matt's or who was Sanchez's first name? The quarterback for the New York Jets.
Matt Sanchez.
Was it Matt? Was that I can't remember if Matt was his first name. It was Mark Sanchez. Not Matt Sanchez.
Yeah.
So one of the most infamous plays, and some people referred to it as the Dirty Sanchez.
It was
one of the funniest, unfortunate things where Mark Sanchez, quarterback, takes a snap, takes a step back, and then runs headfirst into the butt of his own center.
Wasn't it for a
knocks
playoff?
Himself on his ass, fumbles the ball. The other team picks up the ball.
It was the big game, right? It was also in the big game, or like under the spotlight.
I can't remember how big the individual game was.
That's why it was so sad.
But it is one of the craziest, funniest blooper plays in sports in history.
Sanchez.
There it is. There's the butt fumble where he literally ran into the ass of his own player, knocked himself down, fumbled the ball. The other team picked it up and ran back. It's one of the craziest plays in NFL history.
There's some butt talent right there.
What's next?
Sucking it all up, baby.
Kia Street writes, even if you don't watch Black Mirror, get a recap of Joan is Awful. Netflix low-key showing us the future of streaming with AI. So relevant to the writer's strike. Also, Salma Hayek and Michael Cera are in it.
Yeah,
so I guess that's just
I'm not going to lie. I'm probably not going to watch it.
What's the show called or whatever?
Black Mirror.
Oh, okay.
It's an episode one of the episodes of Black Mirror. I just don't watch Black Mirror, so probably not going to watch it. But there's probably a lot of people watching the show, hearing you talk about that, know exact episode you're talking about. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Alan Ling. Hey, John and crew, liked Flash, but didn't love it. I had a good time with all that Flash offered, but I had a better time watching Elemental. Again,
Elemental has the higher critic score and it has the higher audience score. And I love it. It's a delightful, wonderful movie. So you're not like, I personally would put Flash over Elemental, but you're going to get no arguments from me if you say you put Elemental over Flash, because they're both wonderful movies. I adored that film. All right, what's next?
Corey M. writes, saw The Flash, thought it was good. My only gripe are the CGI and distasteful cameos, especially the VFX for the doubling effect of two berries. It was distracting.
Oh, I had no problem with that part of the CGI.
No.
I thought the visual effects of the two berries, I thought that worked really well, to be honest with you. I mean, there are points in the movie that I go, listen, there are thousands of visual effects shots in this thing. So sure, there's a couple in there that even I thought were questionable, but I didn't think the double berry stuff was bad.
I might need to wear my glasses tonight at the movie theater to see if because, sometimes it's half blur, so maybe I never saw this stuff. And I should
never saw this.
No, I mean, it's not like I could see open mic right there behind you. I could read it. I mean, it's fine. But,
that's also massive.
And also the Invisible Man and all that. But it's just like sometimes.
By the way, there's a poster of the Invisible Man on the wall. He's not pointing out and saying, I see the Invisible Man.
I see Invisible Man.
Well, sometimes if you're here late, there is a little kid that hides behind the curtain.
That's what I was told.
But he's nice.
He's nice. He's a nice kid.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Thanks, John.
You're welcome. Science fan writes, I am also sad about Glenda Jackson. I met her once. Do you have a favorite movie?
Oh, I'd have to go through.
Let me see this.
Oh, a second.
I might know her by face.
I mean, her Oscar came from, wasn't it Women in Love? Or it was like 1968 or 1969.
Oh, okay. Now she looks familiar. Hearing you by name.
She's one of these actresses that was around for an entire era
Yeah.
of movies. I didn't realize she was 87.
Wow.
That I did not know. I'm just going through the full list here. I mean, wasn't she, where is it on the list? She was in Mary Queen of Scots, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
I'm not seeing it on her IMDb page.
It's not showing there. You might have to go further, but I know she was for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, her Oscar was like 68 or 69 for Women in Love. And then I know she was in Mary Queen of Scots too.
Oh, sorry, it was way down on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say
70s.
that was before I was born, actually. That's why I was so far down on the list. I would go Mary Queen of Scots, probably.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I haven't seen any.
She had a career that spanned from 1956. Her first role was an uncredited kind of guest spot in 1956. And she worked all the way up to her last movie appearance was Mothering Sunday in 2021.
She actually has one upcoming.
Yep.
Oh, she does have one coming out.
Yeah,
called The Great
and it's with Michael Caine.
Oh, I don't recognize it. But anyway, 1956 to 2021. That's what you call a working actress. Anyway. All right, what's next?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. And that brings our broadcast week to a conclusion. Want to remind you guys, this Sunday at 2 p.m. Los Angeles time, we will be doing our live stream open spoiler discussion for The Flash. Once you've had a chance to watch the movie, if you've seen it by Sunday at 2 p.m., come on by. We'll talk about all the great things about it. The things were kind of shaky. We'll talk about all the cameos. We'll talk about the CGI. We'll talk about all the twists and turns and surprises. The best explanation of time travel I've ever seen in a movie given by Michael Keaton's Batman in there. We'll talk about all of it. Make sure you guys come back and join us on Sunday. So, for Ray Ora, Jonathan Voico,
I'm sorry.
the invisible man over there.
Yeah.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.